So this is another edition of the Heel to the Face podcast. I'm Jared.
I'm Brandon.
And this week we talk Crown Jewel, a bona fide house show according to Brandon. We talk Impact's Bound for Glory this Saturday night in the late night time slot. We talk Halloween Havoc, NXT style, and so much more as the Heel to the Face podcast for this week starts right now.
Fans celebrate with me from Rome to Rochester.
Bad Elections would be my middle name. They might as well tag me up with my buddy from Syracuse.
So this is another edition of the Heel to the Face podcast. Brandon, myself, Jared, as we are just on the eve of WWE Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. As I know, the WWE guys are already there getting ready for the show. This Saturday, we got Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory from the sold-out Sam's Town Casino in Las Vegas. I don't really know to what extent sold out there means.
So I got to ask you, you've traveled to Vegas. Have you been to this venue?
I have not been to this venue. You've been
to the casino portion?
I haven't even been to the casino portion, actually. No? I've driven by the casino portion. It's not on the Strip. It's one of the offshoot, casinos that it's probably everyone's Ubering over unless you're staying at the casino. Gotcha. It is an older one. It is not a newer one. It is one of the more old-timey kind of ones. Sam's Town Casino. Like I said, it's not on the Strip. It's off the Strip. Do you know what the capacity, give or take? And that's what I just kind of alluded to right there, saying sold out. What does that mean? Ring of Honor was holding some shows there a couple years ago, I remember. But yeah, I mean, it's probably similar to the places that they've been run. Like, I don't want to say Skyway Studios in Nashville, but yeah, I mean, I would say a couple hundred.
Yeah, I was going to say probably not more than 500 people, right?
Yeah, no, it's probably not more than that. It's not like a basketball arena. They're not holding like NCAA invitational tournaments there.
Of people, yes.
It's an event center. Locally here we have the Turning Stone, and it's an event center. It's, I imagine where they have, some banquet dinners and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably like Del Lago, the Vine.
It is, yes. It is not Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Yeah. It is not T-Mobile Arena. It is not the MGM. It is not any of those places.
Yeah, it's not a massive facility, so to speak.
Yes, but
capacity-wise.
But we will start with what is the most pressing show coming up, and that's WWE Crown Jewel.
Wait, pressing?
Well, that's the closest one. That's the one we're recording on Wednesday.
Yeah,
this one comes up on Thursday at noon.
As Jared and I have talked off air, my excitement for this show, But hey, we're gonna cover it. I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it on delay later because I can't watch it at noon. I got to work.
Well, yes, I'm not going to watch it at noon either, so I'm going to be staying off social media and all that until I can watch it.
Same here. And no spoilers.
No spoilers. Yes, I easily could say that. I should probably send that to other people because I'm in the room with you so I can say that. So I'm going to send that to other people while I can think of it.
So yeah, no spoilers. I won't be texting you. You don't text me. I will let you know if I finish the show and vice versa.
But I will say this much, and this is why essentially this is of interest to me to talk about other than just the match itself. It is the fact that we had off-air the discussion of this being a bona fide house show. And a lot of people feel your sentiment, Brandon, of this being a bona fide house show.
It is.
And I disagree with you.
Wait, why would you disagree? I'm curious.
I disagree with you because I'll say I agree with you in the sense of that the previous Saudi Arabia shows, and not all the previous ones, but some of the original ones, were bona fide house shows. But the reason I was very adamant that, we talk about this pay-per-view, because to me, regardless of its location and regardless of how we feel about the fact that they're bringing out these part-timers and these major matches that they're doing, unfortunately, I think this time around WWE, if they're going to do this, is doing it right. And what I mean by that is what I said when they first started doing this, Greatest Royal Rumble, all that kind of stuff was, why can't they just make it one of the regular pay-per-views? These super cards don't make sense. They just jam them in between pay-per-views. They've got no storyline build to them. They're just these super matches that are happening for no apparent reason. It's Triple H versus The Undertaker in Australia. I don't know why that's happening the last time ever or whatever. Or it's, these other super matches that we've seen before. Shawn Michaels coming out of retirement. For why? I don't know.
So what you're saying is you're excited about this pay-per-view.
I'm not necessarily saying I'm excited. But I am saying that I am treating this pay-per-view as important as any pay-per-view on the calendar because it is the October pay-per-view. It is not just, a Super Saudi show. It is the pay-per-view for the month of October. So we're not having just another United States pay-per-view this month. It is October's pay-per-view. It is October's storylines drawn in.
I will say I partially agree. I don't like the fact that you bring in, the Goldbergs of the world, but I know why they're doing it. It's a name, it's a draw. I get it. I will say, though, from top to bottom, this is probably their best card I've ever seen there.
Yeah, and I think that because, to be honest with you, it features probably the least amount of part-timers. And what I mean by that is everybody who's involved here is, again, involved in storylines. I mean, I know that Bobby Lashley and Goldberg, what I'm saying is this card could happen at Survivor Series, and it would look like the Survivor Series card in a month, and nobody'd say, whoa, why is Goldberg facing Bobby Lashley? Why is Brock facing
It could be
Roman?
like a backlash, like one of those regular old
Well, I
pay-per-views.
think it's a little better than a backlash when it comes to the fact that they're adding in the bigger names.
Let me ask you this.
I think it's a big 4 pay-per-view deal.
How do you feel? I know last week, I hit the nail on the head with the King of the Ring side.
You did. We got face
but
versus face.
I totally struck out on the Queen's Crown. That was, I have to say at this point, if you're going to keep doing surprises, just put the win on Dewdrop at this point. I'm not going to lie to you. When I watched Shayna get the 1, 2, 3 against her, I was like, where are we going with this? Zelina and Dewdrop, like what are we doing here with the Queen's Crown? I have to get
They at
your
least
thoughts
moved
on
their
that.
match up to over 2 minutes long instead of under 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, how long is this match going to be? 3 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the only women's match on the card. But, to kind of talk about the fact that, what we were just speaking of, Crown Jewel, the importance of this pay-per-view, like I said, I agree with people in the past when they said it was a bona fide house show, because the greatest Royal Rumble, I mean, it's got a name, the greatest Royal Rumble. You would think the biggest Royal Rumble in the history of WWE would have, I don't know, a lot of build-up. WrestleMania tickets go on sale in November. They talk about WrestleMania a year in advance. So the greatest Royal Rumble being knowledge to me about a week and a half before it airs, never even heard of this event.
I will say this.
Was like, what is this?
This looks more like a normal pay-per-view. Like, I would say my generalization of it being just a higher caliber house show, overall, I was correct. But, I mean, looking at the card from top to bottom, I would say this is a more in line with a good top 5 pay-per-view of the year.
Yes.
I mean, the match card is pretty good. I mean, Edge and Rollins, that's going to be fun. I think that's going to be a good
And they're
match.
currently in a feud. I mean, that's obviously happening on SmackDown
I'm
every
telling you
single
right
week.
now, the match of the night, just from a in-ring perspective, I think Finn Balor and Xavier Woods are going to steal the show.
Yeah, no, and I think
That's going to be a
Ring-
hell of a match. Yes, we have the draws, we have the Edge, the Seth Rollins, we have the Becky Lynch, Bianca, Sasha, obviously Roman and Brock Lesnar. But the match that I really want to see, that no one's talking about it really, is Finn Balor and Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods does not get enough credit for being the wrestler that he is. Do I want him to win the crown? No, I want Finn Balor. But will I be disappointed if he wins? No, because he's got to win something. I mean, he can't be the one guy in New Day that doesn't do anything, right? So,
and that's why I kind of figured he was going to become. I think when we first originally picked the bracket, I thought Xavier Woods because they're giving everybody a New Day something.
From all reports, it's seeming like Finn Balor. They've been pounding on the table for him. Some writers in the office. So
I could see this match going either way. I mean, there's not really a clear-cut loser here.
I'm not going to be. That to me, that's why I'm intrigued by this match the most, because it doesn't matter which way you go, it's a win. You're not getting WWE can't screw this one up. I don't think at this point, can they?
I mean, well,
okay.
No, I don't think. No,
well, maybe
they can screw anything up, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't think anybody would be disappointed with either winner here. Now, the one thing that kind of will make this maybe feel like a bona fide house show is the fact that this past Friday night in Ontario, California, Ontario, California, the most hardened American army-based town that we all know of. Everyone speaks of Ontario, California like they do Fort Bragg or Fort Jackson or, any of the forts over there in Iraq or Afghanistan or West Point. Ontario, California is right up there with Annapolis, Maryland.
Wait, did you say Ontario, Canada? No.
Exactly. But for some reason in Ontario, California, the once thought of show in which they flew wrestlers overseas at Christmas time to put on a USO style show for the American troops overseas has now been relegated to being taped after a SmackDown in the month of October to be aired at a later day. And unfortunately, obviously, this means it's going to be a crappy show. And the Tribute to the Troop show was never about the wrestling storylines going on.
It's supposed to be like an event.
Now that, you want to talk about a bona fide house show. Yeah. The Tribute to the Troops was a bona fide house show.
That's supposed to be a high-end
But at least it served a purpose of entertaining a certain group of people, inviting troops involved to watch, whether it be on a base overseas or on a base in America.
The concept is fantastic. I love the concept. I think I love that WWE does this, but how they're doing it now is kind of like, really?
And I think even last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was last year, the year before, wasn't it just like aired on Fox in the time slot on a Sunday afternoon in which didn't have a football game?
Yeah,
it was like the 1 o'clock time slot for those on the West Coast and the 4 o'clock on the East Coast.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, it's not even like a primetime show anymore. It's not in place of a Monday Night Raw.
No.
It's not in place of a SmackDown or any of that kind of stuff.
That's just it's kind of, to me it's water. It's been watered
But
down.
the reason I bring this up is because this is going to air on November the 14th. And some people showed up on this show, let's just say either current champion or not current champion, with Crown Jewel in front of us. So I imagine they're not going to go in, let's say, airbrush out championship trophies off of people on the November 14th show. So it kind of spoiled Crown Jewel a little bit because of the fact you're taping something that is going to air in the middle of November that has people representing championship belts in October.
Yeah, it's not a good look. I mean, especially if you're going to have these.
You could have waited until this week's SmackDown to tape it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have made sense. But why tape it in the future?
When you have a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it doesn't. That's just what WWE does. They screw things up.
Yes, I mean, again, if it was after this pay-per-view, because after this pay-per-view, the next pay-per-view isn't until Survivor Series. Luckily, they're not jamming a pay-per-view in there. The next pay-per-view is Survivor Series.
That's one of my favorites. I love the Survivor Series.
You know what? It's kind of strange. I thought about this a while ago, and that I have Royal Rumble tickets, and as soon as WrestleMania tickets go on sale, I plan on buying those. And Survivor Series, which is in New York State at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, I might go, but I'm only like 50-50 about going to that.
He's still going, folks.
I mean, I might go, but the point is, it's just weird. I'm going to St. Louis.
Just the fact you're considering it means you're going.
I'm going to St. Louis for the Rumble. I know I'm going to go to Dallas for WrestleMania, but this one that's actually in New York State,
I will say this,
I'm on the fence about.
I will say this: if you flipped one of those venues and said, "Oh, the Survivor Series in St. Louis," he's probably not going. But
correct.
I would definitely say that, but because it's in your home state. It's not that far of a hike. You've driven further places and done further travel. You're going to that
The one
show.
thing I guess that was holding me back is the other ones are planned kind of trips. I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually take the Monday off of work, fly, that whole thing. But with Survivor Series, it would just be a drive up and then be really tired the next day. But luckily,
that's what caffeine's for.
Thanks to WWE chagrin and the fact that they're not selling tickets that well for a plethora of events, this one's actually got a lot of cheap tickets still available, which unfortunately the other Survivor Series that were in arenas did not have cheap tickets available. And that's another thing, and that's probably why I haven't been to a Survivor Series before and some of these other events is because the Royal Rumble's in a dome and WrestleMania's in a dome. And what has got me to easily go to these events is the larger capacity means the tickets are more affordable. When SummerSlam years ago were at the Barclays Center every single year, I never went to any SummerSlam at the Barclays Center.
Because those tickets were high in demand.
Because those tickets started at $300.
Yeah, they're high in demand and people are going to pay that or on the secondary market double.
Yeah, so the fact that Survivor Series is at Barclays Center, it's one of the big four pay-per-views, I thought the same thing. I thought these tickets are going to be ridiculously expensive. I'm going to have to pay hundreds of dollars to go to the Survivor Series.
So what's the cost?
The tickets are like $45 and they still are available at $45.
Wow.
I think they might even be lower than that at some seats. The UBS Arena actually is making news because the UBS Arena, which is on Long Island, the brand new home of the Islanders, I don't even know if it opened yet for the Islanders. It's hosting Monday Night Raw in November. I think it's one of the first events there. And they had to just lower tickets down to $15 to get in from $25.
Because they're not. So
and as of this time, Dynamite has outsold Monday Night Raw at the UBS Arena as of this time because they're going about a week after that.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
What does that tell you about? I mean, here's the thing. I mean, this is what I will say about the whole AEW, WWE stuff. Which, by the way, you go out of your way to catch Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks this week. The first 30 minutes is worth a listen, so I highly recommend that. I'm just going to say, nicely enough, he ripped Tony Khan to shreds. I'm not going to give it
because Tony Khan, since the war, because here's the thing, we talked about the war last week. It happened this past Friday, and there's all sorts of reports that AEW won in this demographic, but WWE won for the most part, as you'd expect. But Tony Khan obviously is not just going to, be like, okay, let's move on and just keep quiet like Vince and WWE are kind of doing.
You don't say you destroy the competition when you didn't destroy the competition. That's the problem.
And again, it's not even like comparing apples to apples because one was on YouTube and half an hour was commercial free.
SmackDown was on Fox Sports 1. It's not like it's on. Oh, I can just plug in my antenna and watch the show. I actually have to have a subscription.
It was on cable this week.
It's on cable.
So it was cable show versus cable show. Yes,
and partially YouTube.
Yes.
So come on, I love what AEW is doing, and as a fan of wrestling, AEW is the better show right now. There is no argument there. You will not hear an argument from me on that. But you can't tout you're kicking the competition's ass when You win by a small margin in certain demographics, but overall, you're still getting your ass kicked. It doesn't make sense to me. You're still losing by I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I think you're losing by about 25%.
And the thing is, AEW is doing great. They are doing
Absolutely
for a secondary company. They are doing better than Impact Wrestling ever did. And essentially, I mean, here's the thing: that was WCW's problem back in the day, is that they tried to compete. AEW needs to focus on its own product, not try to compete, and they will have their audience.
Here's the
thing:
thing.
Will get their crowds.
Here's what's going to happen: WWE caters more to the families, the kids. AEW is for us, for adults who are wrestling fans. That's the difference. I mean, that's not rocket science. AEW caters more to the adult audience, which is why their stuff is more edgy. Let's be honest, it's more edgy versus WWE, which is more kid friendly.
And I look at it from ECW's standpoint. ECW never obviously tried to go to war with WWE, except for, I guess, that few times where they came during Monday Night Raw, and there's obviously the rumors and the story that Vince McMahon was keeping ECW afloat. But either way, ECW, their goal at the end of the day was to be profitable for what they were. So if 100%. AEW can exist and make a profit and fill arenas to the side, to whatever arena they don't have to fill Madison Square Garden, but fill the arenas that they book. They book a 6,000 seat arena and they get 6,000 seats. Perfect. And they make a profit, then be happy. I'm fine. I mean, we're talking about all these different kinds of wrestling shows we go to.
Everybody wants a war.
Yeah.
This isn't a war because here's the thing. It's number one, Fox Sports 1.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you had AEW was on YouTube and then TNT. And here's the thing. Overall, it's a 2-1. AEW's losing 2-1 right now. It's 2 million, give or take, 1 million AEW, which is great, by the way. If you asked that back in 96 or 97, that's not a great number. But by today's standards, 2-1, you get 1 million. That's not bad for a secondary promotion. And here's the thing. AEW, they have their niche audience. Stick to it. WWE has their audience. They're going to do what they do. Overall, and here's the thing. WWE has a grander audience worldwide. AEW, not so much. They don't have those relationships that WWE has with Saudi Arabia, going across the pond to the UK. AEW, can they get there? Sure. I don't see that being an issue. Tony Khan and that crew can do it. But at this point, you can't compare WWE and AEW because they're not even on the same playing field.
Yeah.
Just enjoy what you have, keep kicking ass, and that's it. Who cares? And as a wrestling fan, it's the best of both worlds. I get to enjoy AEW, and I also get to enjoy WWE, more so AEW, but it's the better wrestling show. I think we agree.
One wrestling show that's happening this weekend, it's Bound for Glory from the Sam's Town Casino in Las Vegas. As we talked about, sold out, but probably 500 people.
Sure.
But still, they're not in Nashville in front of a sound studio, what have you. And I like the time too, 10 o'clock. Obviously, they don't want to go against AEW Dynamite, which is on Saturday again this week from 8 to 10. So it's going to be 10 o'clock, and I think that's a great time for a pay-per-view because let's be real, Impact Wrestling, speaking of AEW, staying in your lane, Impact Wrestling, stay in your lane. You know that no one's giving up their Saturday date night or not going to the movies to catch a new Halloween flick or going to a Halloween party or stay home and watch Impact Wrestling. Maybe somebody is, but the majority of people, even those who watch Impact Wrestling, are probably not. So This is a way that you actually might get more people to watch it live. Because if it was on at 7 o'clock on Saturday night, I'd probably just watch it on tape delay and not pay for it and watch it at a different time.
Yep.
So in this case, you might actually get people to watch it at the 10 o'clock hour because you don't have a lot of competition at 11, 12 o'clock at night. UFC is great to do that. UFC is always, when they have Saturday nights, you go to the Buffalo Wild Wings or the places, they're the only show going on. They're not going up against college football. They're not going against the NFL. There's no TVs on playing anything else.
It's the only show going on.
It's the only thing going on at 11 o'clock at night.
You got it.
Yeah, so all eyes are on Impact Wrestling on Saturday night. Bound for Glory, Christian Cage defends the championship against Josh Alexander, recently just in 2CW at the Binghamton show that happened a couple weeks ago, going for the championship. Josh Alexander, he's part of the North with Ethan Page. He's been on the rise as of late. Obviously, Ethan Page has been doing his thing in AEW.
Yep.
Christian Cage has been doing his thing. I see a new crowning of an Impact champion here. I see Christian Cage kind of doing the favor to give Christian Cage.
You think Josh is getting put over?
I think he's getting put over because you have somebody like Christian who is older in this business, who isn't Brock Lesnar, isn't Goldberg. I see him,
So what is
wanting
that?
to help expand this company and the young talent in this company.
So what happens from here then? So if Christian Cage drops the title to Alexander, well, what's his next move? Is he gonna wrestle for the TNT Championship, or is that where we're going at this point? Or like,
you think he's going over? I mean, I don't necessarily know if Christian's gonna, because I don't know his full-time status. I mean, is he
he's
really
full-time? He is full-time. I mean, and that's different full-time versus WWE full-time. So that's the other thing. WWE full-time is way different than AEW full-time. And here's the thing. People in AEW love their full-time schedule because it's not working 300 nights a year. So that's the other thing. Christian Cage, I'm sure his schedule's, it's pretty light. He probably works 1 or 2 nights a week, so we got 52 weeks in a year. He's working 100 gigs a year. Not bad.
Deonna Purrazzo, also fresh off a 2CW appearance, taking on Mickie James because she's still kicking around and she probably will be for forever. She's I don't want to say the Ric Flair of like Impact, but I mean, she's been around. She's still kicking.
Yeah, she's still going.
She comes back to WWE for a minute, heads back to Impact, goes back and forth. I mean, this should be an interesting match. I think Mickie James is the better wrestler than Deonna Purrazzo. I know that she's got the WWE NXT time, and she's okay.
Who's the better wrestler in this?
I think Mickie James.
I disagree. I think Deonna Purrazzo is a better technician.
Well, we will find out.
Yes,
It's weird the Impact Championship is still called the Knockouts Championship because that goes to me like the Divas Championship and like the kind of like women as an object name. I'm surprised they haven't changed it to like the Impact Women's Championship.
Well, they don't want to be that cheesy, do they?
But the Knockouts, I mean, that's like, ooh, look at that knockout. Like, that's not saying like that she's a great wrestler. That's like saying like, boy, she's hot.
Maybe they'll change it someday. I mean, speaking of new championships, they got the Impact Digital Media Championship.
Yeah, I mean, it's an
what the hell is that?
There's an intergender 6-way match that features people like Jordana Grace and Chelsea Green and Tanelia Dashwood, also known as Emma from WWE's days, with some people that, John Schuyler and this Fala Ba, this big, huge, he looks like the guy who went up against Big Show in that WrestleMania 21 in the sumo match.
Yes, the big guy.
Yes. So, and it's weird, too, because it's not just
don't forget about Crazy Steve, all right?
And it's not just an intergender match, but again, it's an intergender match with like a 400-pound sumo-looking dude, and then Chelsea Green. It's interesting, and more importantly, in this Impact Digital Media Championship, though, I don't know exactly. I guess it's just an intergender mid-card championship belt. Does Impact Wrestling need any more belts? Nobody cares about the belts they got.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But this one, I like the guys in this. Apparently, there's going to be 15 TBA guys. It's a Call Your Shot Gauntlet match. But the guys that are already announced, we got Moose, fresh off his 2CW appearance. You got Chris Sabin, not fresh off a 2CW appearance, but he's a 2CW alumni, and his tag team partner in the past had been in 2CW of the Motor City Machine Guns. Him and Alex Shelley. You got Brian Myers, also known as Kurt Hawkins.
Yep.
You got W. Morrissey, Kaz, fresh off his 2CW appearance. Rich Swann, fresh off his 2CW appearance. I mean, this is a lot of great talent in this match. Kaz, Moose. I can't wait to see those big guys in the ring together.
You know where I'm going on that one.
Yeah, you're going to pick Moose to win this all the way.
Of course I am.
And I guess some other matches, kind of a New Japan feel in the sense of it's the Bullet Club, Chris Bay, and Hakalui. If I said that right, I probably said it wrong. The Good Brothers, Bullet Club veterans from the past.
Yeah, and you got Finn Juice.
Yeah, this of David Finlay and Juice Robinson.
Yeah.
Who I know most prominently through their time in New Japan Wrestling.
Yeah, New Japan, yeah.
So this feels like a real New Japan kind of match. Because it's the Bullet Club, but it's not the Bullet Club like the heavy names. It's the Bullet Club that we're familiar with, like when they were like a 20-man team in New Japan.
Yeah, I like Chris Bay. Chris Bay is a good wrestler. I've seen some of his work. He's underrated in my opinion.
Another TBA is going to be Heath. Well, obviously from the past.
What, Slater?
Yes, he's Slater, going by the name of Heath in Impact Wrestling. He's got a TBA partner, so who knows who we're going to bring in for a big debut, but he's going against Violent by Design, which is Diener, Joe Doring, and Eric Young.
Yep.
And so I'm just more or less obviously to wonder to see who could be the guest in this.
Impact Knockouts Tag Championships, the Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics.
Yep.
I think they're winning against Decay. I'm not familiar with Decay very much, but I know
Havoc. She's had and Rosemary. She's kind of like a mix of like I don't know who to say. She's got the makeup on her face. She had like a Luna Vachon mixed with the Alexa Bliss character of today.
Okay.
That kind of crazy. I'm trying to like not a Io Shirai. What am I thinking of? what's the green hair in NXT? Come on now.
Oh, Ember Moon.
No, not Ember Moon.
Oh, Shotzi.
Shotzi, yeah, like a mix of Shotzi in there.
No, Ember Moon does have some green in her now.
Yes. Oh, okay. But yeah, so like I'm picking up a picture of her. Yeah,
and
like,
she also looks like a little in this picture that we're seeing on Wikipedia, of course. Great source. A little bit of I would say like a Thunder Rosa a little bit.
Yeah. So like,
yeah.
And then Havoc has been in wrestling forever. I know her from her relationship off screen with Sami Callihan. But Havoc, Death Machine, she's been around. So yeah, it should be an interesting match. I imagine they got to defend, right? Because it's literally the Inspiration, which, no offense to the Inspiration, but they're the opposite of this Decay team.
I'm going with the Inspiration. Just it's a name. Impact wants names.
That you hit the nail right on the head there. But moving on to our final event next week, Halloween Havoc, NXT Halloween Havoc. It's coming back in place of the TV show. And got some good matches on that as well. You're going to have Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. Do you see Ciampa leaving with the belt, or you see the Steiner son leaving with the belt?
Ooh, I think the Steiner son, Mr. Breaker, part of the Breaker family, I think he's going to get it. I mean, they're obviously pushing this kid like hell, so why not put the title on him at this point?
Raquel Gonzalez, the champion, going up against Mandy Rose and her little new clique that she's got going on, because her other friends in Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, they're going for the tag team championship in a Scareway to Hell ladder match against Io Shirai, Zoe Stark, and as well as Indy Hartwell and Parisa. So it's a triple threat for the women's tag team championship, but also, again, in Toxic Attraction now, Mandy Rose, I guess the leader, she's facing Raquel Gonzalez for the championship
Raquel's
itself.
Got this one in the bag.
It's a spin the wheel, make the deal match. Interesting to see where that will go.
It'll go in Mandy's favor. And then
Solo
Raquel
Sikoa, one of the relatives of the Usos, son of Rikishi, he's going to make his debut. You got the men's tag team championship on the line.
It's TBA. So
we don't know.
Yeah, who's? I mean, any guesses? Any ideas?
Maybe it's the other guy they've been doing a vignette about who's burying their past. Who knows?
Oh, so you're saying Velveteen Dream? Okay, I got it. No problem. Okay, I'm kidding. But I do want to see Solo. I think I like his name, and he has the pedigree. So I'm looking forward to watching him.
Carmelo Hayes defends his newly crowned NXT North American Championship against former NXT North American Champion Johnny Gargano with Dexter Lumis at his side. That should be interesting.
Melo's keeping the title.
And MSK is defending their tag belts against Imperium.
Ooh, that's another spin the wheel, make the deal match, huh?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to have to go with Imperium.
So with NXT Halloween Havoc next week on Tuesday night, that kind of brings us to one of our final points of the show. And it has been announced, and we talked about this last week, that at Halloween Havoc, there'll be a special guest. His name, formally, fully, is Charles Lee Ray, but better known as Chucky when he's in doll form.
Yes.
So why I bring this up again this week is because there has been talk that I've seen on Twitter, and I have to, when I saw it, I said, you know what? Unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, there could be some validity to it. With Chucky making his appearance at Halloween Havoc, and Chucky having made an appearance to promote Bride of Chucky back in the WCW days,
sure,
with his little shoot interview, I guess you would say, with Rick Steiner on an episode of WCW Nitro. Chucky, that makes 2 appearances for him in the world of professional wrestling. That could be qualifications, and probably better qualifications than some that have this honor. WWE Celebrity Hall of Fame inductee.
I knew you were going there. Hall of Fame, huh?
I'm not saying he deserves it.
Chucky for Hall. Yes.
But what I'm saying is
it.
Snoop Dogg is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I understand that everyone loves Snoop Dogg, and he's great and all. But what has he done?
What's with the sarcasm? It's freaking Snoop Dogg.
But what he's done in WWE was he was a guest ring announcer at WrestleMania 24.
And he did a fantastic job.
And I think he might have, and I'm not even 100% sure, I think he might have also performed on Raw before.
Fantastic job.
And that's a couple other maybe Raw appearances where he's come out and
he happens to have some bloodlines in the WWE.
Well, that's true. But what
cool
he has
well.
done. So the point is, if you look at Snoop Dogg's
it's a celebrity
WrestleMania,
wing. It's okay.
And you look at Drew Carey's involvement, his 1 minute in the Royal Rumble in which he eliminated himself, all to promote a comedy special on HBO, might I add.
Yeah.
With those involvements in WWE, giving them inductions, Chucky's got just as much as a claim. This will be his second appearance on WWE on WCW, WWE television.
It's going to be interesting. And maybe we'll be talking about this on a future show, Chucky for Hall.
This week, speaking of Hall, we could talk about this, and I'd like to talk about this in further maybe in the future, and that's Luna Vachon. We talked about the fact that she is a Legacy Award inductee, and it's a shame that she's not a fully regular inductee. But her Dark Side of the Ring aired this past week. Very interesting if you get a chance to watch it. A great episode. And this upcoming Thursday, and the reason I alluded to off camera why I already got my XPW tickets is XPW Dark Side of the Ring this Thursday, 9 o'clock, makes its debut. I imagine they'll be promoting their show that happens in just about 2 weeks' time.
Sure.
In Rochester, they'll be talking about the past, the infamous New Jack throwing Vic Grimes through a million tables off a scaffold, and all the other nonsense that got involved leading up to their show. And next week, we'll talk maybe about that Dark Side of the Ring. We'll definitely talk about Crown Jewel and other events in WWE. But finally, I want to just say, who's leaving with the championships at Crown Jewel? Some winners and losers. Give them to me real quick.
Roman Reigns, I would say, wins. Let's see. On the women's side, I will go with... Ooh, that's a good one. Becky Lynch. And then... Who else we got? I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Big E and Drew McIntyre.
Big E's going to retain. Tag titles, RK Bro. They're staying champs. What else am I missing?
King of the Ring, you got Finn Balor.
Finn, and then I have Doudrop.
All right, so we'll see if he's right or wrong. We'll talk about the importance of, them being King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring, and if it really matters. We'll find out next week. I don't know if we'll find out, but we'll talk about it next week. Whoever becomes King of the Ring and Queen's Crown winner, as well as who is still the champion or who is a new champion, and how Edge and Seth Rollins got out of Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia. How they're just going to get out of Saudi Arabia in general.
Yeah.
We'll talk that and so much more. For Brandon, I'm Jared. This has been another edition of the Heel to the Face podcast.